Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending Phison 23 CQ1's our financial report. Okay, first we still like to re-refine again. In the media, in a lot of analysts keep saying memory, but Phison we prefer in NAND. We are going to say this is storage. Memory basically is a point to the DRAM. Okay, this is what we collect from the market. This is a last quarter. Micron is a different. Micron is from December to February. Basically, this is what they are lost in these three companies. Most of them, they are covered the NAND and DRAM. But based on our study and from the research firms, in the last 3 months, basically DRAM still maintain profit. So most likely the loss are coming from NAND. So these three companies minus 8.3 billion. And the other two key players, WD will be released by next week. KOCI is an IPO. We believe by middle of May, they are going to release a report. So personally, I guess total loss in the NAND industry potentially will go to 12 to $13 billion. So this is to show you, how bad the market of a NAND. And we also believe with this kind of a loss, the NAND makers, they have no more room to cutting the price. So this is, I believe this can be a signal to the market. Okay, in the 23 CQ1, I think the ratio basically is quite similar as last year CQ4, but from this breakdown, we are able to get also some new signal. Basically, gaming module since last CQ4 last year, you may get the report from a lot of media. PlayStation is selling good. So on the other hand, Phison, our Gen 4 upgrade SSD for PS4, we have around 4x demand versus CQ1 versus CQ4. So this is helping us to gain some more revenue and with a better gross margin. And for embedded ODM, you also awarded the PC makers as last CQ4 almost didn't place any PO. Smartphone makers also don't place any PO. But from CQ1 slightly, we have some rush order from smartphone player. CQ2, we also got some tier 1 PC OEM start to release their PO. So from this ratio, you can read from ODM slightly increasing, and the gaming modules increasing. Industrial actually is quite stable. Okay, so I believe at this moment, also from our study, that some PC tier 1 makers, smartphone makers, they don't have a high inventory anymore. Okay, their inventory back to kind of much healthy, but at this moment they are still not willing to place a big order. They still try to negotiate the price. They are trying to ask a lower price. So we still need to keep monitoring what is the real demand from the end user side. Okay, the CQ1 revenue is close to NT 10 billion. And the gross profit is 3.2 billion. So revenue-wise, we are declining 41%, and the gross profit declining 40%. So from this revenue trend, since last year Q1, looks like every quarterly the revenue declining. Hopefully, we hope by CQ1 is the bottom. We hope. Okay, and we also need to monitoring the demand from the end user side. Basically, from the system side, system means smartphone makers, PC makers, system makers. Inventory is low, but they're still not willing to place a big order. They still try to negotiate the price. So basically, still supply side and the customer side still in the bucket. Okay, this is Phison's our gross margin rate. by CQ1 this year, our gross margin was 31.7%, which is the second highest in our single quarter in the history. Okay, and in the CQ1, we also have a reversal of a write-down. Means inventory we are able to reverse around 1%, which helping to our gross margin. So if we take out this 1% reversal, the gross margin is around 30.7%. So still highest than the last 3 quarters, maybe last 4 quarters. Then you may like to ask why. In the CQ1, Phison, we are not willing to go to compete the price in the market. We still insist we need to ask reasonable price. Second, Phison's our products portfolio. As I mentioned, we have gaming modules, we have industrial modules, which has better gross margin. It's a high mix customization, which we're able to get better margin. And the third, the net price, we're still able to get a lower price than every quarter, so that we are able to put lower price NAND into their high value products. And the fourth, we are getting some more design service project. Later I will mention we have a design service project with the NRE base, and those NRE helping a lot in our gross margin rate. So the earning per share, CQ1 on the book, finally the earning is NT 1.26. Basically, personally, I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. And the reason, again, is we have to take in loss of our investment in China, which costs us around NT 2.8 loss in the EPS. Okay, so we are doing very hard to make sure Phison our own gross margin rate, our own gross margin able to keep reasonable. But unfortunately, the investment still taking loss. But good sign, potential good sign is in the CQ2, the loss from our investment in China may go to flat, may go to even. So hopefully, this is not become our burden in the coming quarters. Okay, so this is caused by our investment in China. Okay, the balance sheet, which investor more concerned is about cash flow. We still have a 10 billion NT cash on hand, which you may a little bit confused. Last quarter was 17, then went to 10. What happened there? Basically, we have around 3 billion NT the account payable, which we postpone to their Q1. We negotiate with our supplier. They ask Phison to help to pull in the material, but we ask the longer payment terms, and they take it. So originally, a lot of AP had to pay by CQ4, but we pushed to the CQ1, around 3 billion NT. And we have an employee bonus cash by 2 billion in CQ1. We also have a shareholder dividend, cash dividend by around 2 billion. So overall, 3 billion AP, 2 billion for employees cash bonus, and 2 billion for shareholders. But with this 10 billion NT, I believe we still maintain very healthy in the cash flow. We still running the business with a zero debt from the bank. Inventory wise, we keep is a flat inventory versus last CQ4. And the write-down portion is around 11% of our total inventory. So we still have keep 11% room, potentially able to reverse in the coming futures. And the total net value still maintain is similar as last quarter. And this is inventory turnover rate. Basically, inventory is a flat, but the revenue-wise, customer come to us only asking lower the price, then they're willing to place the order. But sometime we are not willing to take lower price, so we reject. So we prefer to keep our gross margin. And we also believe the NAND suppliers, they're also not willing to cut price anymore. So we believe we no need to, at this moment, we have enough cash flow. We don't need to dump inventory in order to get the revenue, but loss in the gross margin rate. And by the income statement, revenue-wise, we are declining like 20%. Gross profit declining a little bit. And the operating expense, actually, we are increasing. So we still didn't slow down our R&D activities. We still keep investing our new engineers, new projects, new tape out. Okay. And versus last CQ4, the non-operating gain mainly is China loss is a big portion. CQ1 is the gap is smaller. Hopefully by CQ2 we're able to hopefully to keep this to even, but they need to work very, very hard. But even though not going to even, the minus were going to much smaller than the CQ1. Okay. And gross margin wise, we're doing good. It's second highest in the history. Okay. So this is the income statement. So we are also like to disclose our TIF and non-TIF, the difference. Based in the operating profit, actually the gap is small, it's like 0.7%. This is all about the stock options to our employees. And we are exercising our stock options. So in the coming years, Phison will have more in the stock options and also in the treasury shares exercise. So we believe in the future, the TIF and non-TIF, the gap will become much bigger. So we have to try to explain to shareholders to tell you what we are doing. And we need to also get the incentive from this option and the treasury share to attract more talent to join Phison. Okay, so by April, the April revenue is 3.3 B, a little bit declining by MOM. The reason is customer, they pull in some material by end of March. By April, after Samsung announced cutting their production, customers still asking lower the price, okay, which we are not that willing to take lower the price orders. So we insist not to take that kind of a low price order. So that's why revenue is declining. And by last year March, we also issued the NRE service to the design service customers. And by April, this portion is a small, but by CQ2, we still have a big portion income coming from NRE design service. Later I will explain more to you. Okay, some business highlight in the CQ1. Our partner, actually we get very good in our PCIe 5.0 Express, and we believe it's the only one supply in the market. And the products itself already in the market, and our customers also get very good review result from the a lot of reviewers. And we are working with our partner. Crucial belongs to Micron. Micron very closer to Phison. I believe they are launching the products after a few more hours. It's the 5th of May by US time. So they are going to ship the products to the market. You're able to get from market, and they are get very good point from the reviewer. So this is all about Phison. We are working very close with them. And hopefully these products are able to help Phison and our partner getting much better gross margin, because looks like this is only Gen 5 supply in the market. Also, our PCI Gen 4, our partner in Japan, which is for the PS4 upgrade, they get also really good recommendation from the magazine. And this demand actually increased quite a lot because the PS5 keeps selling good. And this product also helping us get much better gross margin. Okay, basically CQ1 is a very slow season. Smartphone makers very slow, PC very slow, but embedded industrial basically okay. And we also made some design win into the PCs, into the tablet. We are more focusing the gaming business. So we believe the gross margin gaming is much better. And our enterprise SSD getting more design win. But the problem today is even though we get a design win, Samsung still in the CQ1 cutting price. So we are not willing to compete with them to take minus margin to get the business. So our activity right now keep more AVR. When the market price start bounce back, we are able to use our low cost inventory to take a little bit market share from the customer side. And industrial demand is stable. We are slightly increased our market share. Okay, CQ1 we announced our new business model in the especially in the Bay Area. We got very good and positive response from our system customers. You know, Phison for these 20 years we accumulate a lot of our IPs, not only in the circuit but also in the analog, high-speed interface, and firmware integration, system integration. So we announced and promote this design service model. And we already got few NRE design service projects, which mainly in the automotive, in PCIe Gen 4 SSD model for the automotive business. And also we are service to few Android phone makers in China. Android phone basically now, other than Samsung, is most likely from China. We are service 3 of them in the UFS controllers customization. UFS 4.0 customer design, the new ASIC and the firmware, and also the new EMC for entry phone to migrate to the 176 layer of a NAND. So this is all about NRE base with Phison's our strong portfolio, strong R&D resources, and we are more willing to help customers to make a customization. And via our customization, the storage to the customers, they are able to increase their value in the phone, which directly they can get a much better ASP in their selling price. So this is helping customers, also helping Phison. So we are good to let you know we are already in the design survey business and already generate some of income through the NRE. Okay, this is some summarize. Okay, again, you read from every public media, NAND makers suffer a big loss. I believe in the history, this is a single quarter, close to 12 to 13 billion loss in the NAND industry. Okay, so we believe they have no more room to cutting the price. So last month April, April 7, Samsung also saying that they are cutting their production in the NAND. And we don't know if they are willing to cut it more, but if the loss in the CQ2 still as a similar as a CQ1, I believe they may need to cut some more production. Okay, and what Phison we are trying to do is transform ourselves, go to the design service, which is helping us to get our much better profit margin from this industry. In supply side, I think we don't need to spend any time to talk about supply side. You know everything very well. No more room to lose money. Today's question is, what happened to the demand side? Okay, demand side basically CQ1 Western market still very weak due to inflation and high interest rate. China slightly recover, but we still need to see CQ2, CQ3 how strong the rebounds from the China market. But anyway, we keep ourselves ready, and controllers development we keep investing. We still accumulate the low cost NAND flash from our supplier. So inventory wise, we keep like 21 billion NT, potentially may increase 1 to 2 billion NT by CQ2. Depends on if we're able to get a better price, we are willing to collect more NAND from our suppliers. So today, I think the only question is, when will the market demand rebound? This is what we are now keep monitoring. Okay. Again, Phison, we insist we are not going to lay off engineers. We keep hiring more engineers. We keep investing. This year we have 2 7nm tape out, few 12nm tape out. This is all requested by the NAND semiconductors inquiry. So by R&D expense, due to the revenue declining, so the ratio is surprising 20% is high. But we believe the slow season is a temporary. Slow season cannot keep for a few more quarters. So, but customer, they may need good service, good products when the market bounce back. So we keep investing, and hopefully we can see we are able to gain some more market share very soon. Okay, we collect some Q&A from the host. So let me clean up the Q&A, then we go to the live. This is asking by Samsung. What happened to Samsung? Okay, anyway, they are cutting. They are taking loss in their NAND business, but R&D investment, okay, record high. Why? I believe if a company you are doing healthy in finance, in cash flow, the much smart, the wise thing to do is increase your R&D, because we believe bounce back will happen very, very soon. Okay, and we have to make ourselves ready for the new technology, new products, and make the team healthy to prepare for next bounce back. And the production cut, I think, already happened. If CQ2, the loss still big, we believe, okay, the cut may happen again, but depends on also the demand. If the demand CQ3 is not coming back, I believe NAND market may cut more in production. And by the way, in the China recently they have a 2 module house. NAND module house just public, so we're able to read their report. Also from the report, both of company are taking minus, okay, and also they are suffer high inventory. They need to write off their inventory. This just deflating the NAND market is so bad, but Phison we still able to keep revenue and also with our gross margin rate, which is a second history high. But again, Phison not going to turn down, not going to decrease the R&D investment. We keep insist to develop the more projects and to build a strong team. Okay, this is just get a question from this afternoon since our competitors announced their report and saying that they are going to managing their expense. Again, Phison, we are clear. We got so many inquiries from the NAND makers, from Korea, from US, from Japan. They're asking Phison to prepare more controllers, more firmware, more systems for their new generation NAND. We also get the inquiry from auto makers, smartphone makers, system makers, PC makers for a lot of applications. So we still tight with our engineering headcount. Of course, we are not going to increase headcount crazily, but if they have any good talent, Phison, we are willing to take it. So we are not going to slow down the R&D activity, okay? And based on Phison history, I just made some study. 2019, NAND market also suffered the low cycle, okay? And that period, when you read the Phison, this is a yellow color. Phison R&D, we decide to increase R&D activity. This helping Phison in the coming 3 years, we gain revenue, we gain profit. So what happened to today? CQ1, all the NAND makers, I mean, the US NAND makers, lay off. Korean NAND makers, they slow down activity, they cut the capex, okay, they cut the R&D investment. Controller house, they're cutting their expense. But Phison, we insist to keep. The reason, if 2019, what we did happen and we enjoy after 3 years, we believe sooner or later when market turn to healthy, Phison we're able to gain our much better profit from the market, and we also able to get more market share. So this happened in the 2016, 2019. We believe again. Let's keep watching if we are able to realize our commitment. Okay, again, Samsung earning, but Samsung they highlight the big growth rate exceeds the market expectation. Why? When NAND getting cheaper, the system content they are willing to increase. So tablet today from China is a 256 GB, smartphone going to 256, 512 GB, PC going to 512 1 TB. So this is actually helping the NAND capacity penetrate to the system. On the other hand, NAND makers losing money, they lost more. System makers, they are willing to use more NAND. Okay. On the other hand, this helping the growth in the NAND industry. So we believe today's what we are concerned is no more talking about supply, it's talking about when the demand is coming back. Okay, this is we get last week from the Digitimes saying that what they say may be rumor, but yes, the NAND supplier, they are not willing to lower the price anymore than March 31st. Okay, they wish they're able to raise the price, but you need to see if the demand happen or not. But they are not willing to lower the price anymore, lower than the March 31st. So I think this is a signal to show, okay, there are no more room to lose money. Okay, this is to show you our inventory, the write down and the reversal. Basically, the Q1 we are reverse some inventory back. I think I remember it's around 100 million NT, 100 million to 200 million NT. But for second quarter, we still have to write down. Then you may need to ask why. We made some deal by CQ1 from our NAND supplier, which price is a dot, is a kind of a low price, but shipping to Phison by April, May and June. So the cost we lock is quite low. This may pull down our average price. So we may need to suffer against some inventory loss, but overall, this still helping us. It's still very healthy. So we believe by CQ3, supplier, they are willing, they try, they eagerly to increase their price. This will helping Phison to reverse again. So just a highlight, we may need to write down some, I think it's around 200 million NT, okay, by our CQ2, but this potentially will reverse by CQ3. Okay, this is our, again, our data. CQ1, their supply demand gap is a much oversupply. I think it's around 10%. It's around like 13%. So anyway, market is bloody. Supplier lost like $12-13 billion, but we still able to keep our good gross margin. The reason is wide portfolio, design service. We are capable to lower our NAND price, NAND cost, and we able to get a little big premium from our products. So we think when market back to normal, we are able to maintain our business. And this is what happened. If this happened by year 2010, 2015, Phison would take big loss at that time because we don't have a design service, we don't have a high mix, premium products. But today, we doing okay. Yeah, we keep taking loss from Hongxin since the last CQ3. Then CQ4 is a big loss. This CQ1, the gap smaller. Hopefully by coming CQ2, we hope even or just a little small loss. Okay, and we also collect the two company which is a public in the China. This is public in Shenzhen, public in Shanghai, and they are losing money CQ1, but surprisingly, their market value unbelievable. It's a 40 billion RMB, which is a much larger than Phison. So I don't know. I'm not able to complain, but it's happened. So we keep encourage or we push Hongxin. They need to hurry up. They need to work hard to make sure they are able to go to IPO. And ESG wise, we just get the new announcement from the this OTC. Phison, we are ranking top 5 among these 700 company. This in the OTC. So we are working hard in everything in ESG. So hopefully, I wish our hardworking shareholders will able to know and appreciate to our team members. Okay. So above is today's file. Then we can go to the live.
Okay, thanks, CEO Ken. So right now we're entering Q&A session. If you have any question, please feel free to press the raise hand button on the menu bar below, or you may type in your question in the chat room. Okay, Jason, please go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for taking my questions. My first question is just one, can you give us more details on gross margin side? It seems like, yen price has declined in first quarter, but your gross margin can still improve in first quarter this year. And in third quarter last year, you mentioned your gross margin was driven by more design win with better gross margins. So I just wonder for this quarter, how can you make better gross margin compared with Q4? And also for the reversal of the write-off, because I think spot and counter price still decline in Q1, so how can you just have such a reverse from the inventory write-off? Thank you.
Okay, again, just I'm keep mentioning the gross margin, right? First of all, we have a wide portfolio which cover industrial, gaming, auto, and design service. I think the contribution more in the, okay, basically NRE through design service gross margin is 100%. Okay, so we are able to get some good design service project, and we are able to take the NRE by CQ1. So this is helping us more in our gross margin. So NRE is the most biggest contribution. Second is about industrial module and gaming modules, which our net cost declining, but we're able to keep the module ASP flat or just slightly declining. Okay, because there is a premium products, is a customization products, okay, high mix products. So that's why they are able to generate the gross margin to us. And talking about reversal, actually reversal is only like 1%, okay? It's not much, okay? Just reason that, okay, we are buying NAND from 6 suppliers, okay? And this is a little bit complicated, okay? We are not buying every quarter from this 6 suppliers, maybe 3 suppliers CQ4, 3 suppliers CQ1. For some reason, I think I don't know much detail, but anyway, we able to reverse 1%, only 1%. But CQ2, the reason CQ2 we have to write down, the reason we are asking too low cost from supplier. Of course, we are happy, right? We're able to get a supply with a much lower cost. But on the other hand, that lower cost pull in will inflate to inventory. So we have to write off around $200 million, okay, by CQ2. So basically, when market turn to normal means supplier is not going to take loss, right? Means the price is going to increase. Those write-down will be rapidly to reverse to our gross margin. So when market price start going up, supplier increase the price. By coming 2-3 quarters, we will have a big portion through the reversal from our write-down. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So my second question is, can you just give us the outlook for the gross margin in Q2 or in second half this year? Or do you have a range of gross margins for year 23? Can we expect that if the spot price or name price bottom in Q1 or Q2, can we expect our gross margin can further improve from the current levels? I know that your target gross margin is 27%, but that means if the spot price bottom or may have some revisions in second half this year, do we expect this kind of levels can further revise up?
Okay, these have a few factors, okay, we need to take consideration, okay. First of all, CQ2, we still have an NRE income, okay, so this is helping our gross margin. But on the other hand, we have to write down 200 million NT as I just disclosed, okay. And the market today, the NAND market today, Samsung announced to cut production by 7th of April. By 27th of April, they're saying they are cutting much effective of a production. So I don't know effective equal to 30% or 40% or 20%, I don't know. But the fact is the market today still not that strong. I don't know when the market is going to turn to strong. This depends on the system makers, PC makers, phone makers, when they are willing to pull in their material. But for sure that the inventory of a NAND storage in the smartphone supply chain, PC supply chain is low. I also have a call with one of my supplier at the Tuesday, which they're saying that recently they got a big portion of a SSD order, the client SSD order recently. So by CQ2, I mean by June, July timeframe, you may be surprised. Some of a NAND maker, the revenue may start to bounce back. Okay, I cannot disclose who they are, but they said they already able to achieve their revenue target. They are not hurry to push Phison to buy the NAND material from them in CQ2. They push the shipment to CQ3. So this deflated, the client SSD demand is coming back. Of course, I don't know what kind of price they are negotiating, but again, for fact is the price today still not yet increased. We hope, I don't know, May or June or July, I hope when the system makers start willing to put in more material, the NAND supplier really want to raise the price. If that happens, they will help in our gross margin. So conclusion is by CQ2, I believe we still able to maintain either high 20 or low 30 gross margin. Okay, so still follow our 20, I believe it's a 27% plus something, but I don't know how much I'm going to commit, but depends on May and June what is going to happen in the NAND market. Okay?
Got it, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Matt, and I'll back to you.
Thank you.
If any quick question, please feel free to raise hand button. While waiting for the question, we also collected some questions from chat box. So the first one is the investor wants to know the development progress of the retimer. Can retimer contribute revenue in 2024?
Okay, our retirement samples already start to work together with the server makers in Taiwan. We have 2 or 3 server makers start to test our retimer. Because this is for server industry, okay, they may take many months for test and qualification. But I believe by 24 second half, retimer will start to contribute some revenue to us, but it's not that much. But I hopefully by next first half we able to start to try run the samples and run up for MP by second half next year.
Okay, got it. Also, another question is about the E25 PCIe Gen 4. The investor wants to know the order status for this product.
E25 is a customized design for one NAND makers. Okay, this is a customization project. So basically, this is under qual by the PC makers. So run up hopefully by next year. By CQ4. Run up by CQ4.
Okay, got it. And another question is about the wearable devices business update. For example, like sport watch, AR, VR. Wonder whether you can provide some update on this.
I mean, very honest. The CQ1 sport watch AR VR is very weak. I believe Q2 still very weak, and the total capacity in sport watch is like 1632 GB. Okay, is the ASP is very low, but we have a big portion in controller business. Okay, for controller is like 50 cents per piece. Okay, AR VR I'm suspect, to be honest, I suspect about this market because what the storage they use is only like 4 and 8 GB, only for booting. Okay, demand is weak and contribution to the business ASP is very low.
Okay, got it. We got a question from Simon Wu. Please go ahead, Simon.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. By the way, one quick suggestion. The hosting the call Friday late afternoon these days, I think it's not great for the young people. So maybe next time would you consider your office call maybe either maybe early week or maybe at least early afternoon, right? Rather than Friday, 5 p.m. Taiwan time, 6 p.m. Korea Japan time.
Understand.
It's tough, right?
Okay, gentlemen, let me explain. Okay, first of all, we need to match the New York time, right? New York, some analysts from New York, they express they want to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Second,
Yeah.
the reason we select Friday, we don't want the impact, okay, in second day in the market. So we like take a weekend to let the investor digest what we are talking.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's up to you, sir. That's a quick suggestion. The number one, we appreciate your great presentation, all the details. But question number one, year-to-date revenue down around 40%, right? And then going forward to make this minus 40% become to 0% or plus 40%, what could be the catalyst? Is it more volume driven, or you have to restore your product price back to last year level? So how to make today's revenue 40% lower than last year level when the revenue can come back to the last year level, and how is volume or price? That's the first question. Thank you.
Okay, basically you look to Phison's our portfolio configuration. Okay, controller wise by revenue is a kind of almost flat. Of course, last year Q1 controller was good, but I remember CQ2, CQ3, CQ4, CQ1 controller revenue is a kind of plus minus single digit %. So controller is very stable. But look to the NAND price itself. I believe that the price declining on NAND is over 65-70%. Okay, So if Phison revenue only dropping 40% means actually we gain the gigabyte share. Then the question is how Phison able to back to our revenue as last year or year 21. First of all, we need to increase a lot of business product portfolio. We need to increase the content in our systems, which able to get a much higher ASP. Of course, based on today's NAND price, every NAND supplier, they are taking minus gross margin, which this is not able to sustain in coming few quarters. Eventually, the NAND price will back to above cost, means the price is going to increase. So we try to getting more product portfolio. We try to increase the gigabyte in our systems. Eventually, NAND makers need to pull up the price. If this is a case happened, then Phison, our revenue able back to 21, 22. Of course, I need to grow my revenue. I have to grow my revenue. So that's why we have a high density enterprise SSD, high density automotive SSD, high density smartphone embedded SSD. Of course, high density industrial SSD, okay, gaming SSD. So conclusion is NAND price have to go up. We need to increase our portfolio. We need to increase our shipment number. We need to increase our gigabyte in the systems.
So basically, your revenue upside is more based on the volume rather than the price.
No, both. No. Both important. If Phison today we are doing nothing, invest to the new project, new products, when the price bounce back 30%, then we're able to get 30% revenue by doing nothing, okay? But of course, we are still investing, right?
Yeah. Okay. And then maybe last question is your inventory is more than 20 billion NT dollars. But your monthly revenue like 3 or 4 billion, quarterly revenue low $10 billion. So it's very exceptionally high versus your currently generating revenue. So do you think this is the structural business model going forward, holding the inventory like almost 2 times higher than the revenue, or you have any extra plan to make the inventory leaner and leaner going forward? Thank you.
Okay, I think if you ask the same question to Samsung SK, they also don't know how to answer you. They are not willing to produce that many keep inventory. But unfortunately, the market changed due to the COVID, the lockdown, inflation, war, interest rate. Okay, I am not the guy willingly to get that much inventory, but I have no choice. We are in this business. Then supplier keep coming to me to call help. And my customer also asked Phison to prepare inventory for second half demand. They asked Phison. So, and I need to grow my business. I need to sell more my controllers. So when the NAND makers come to us to buy NAND, we ask them, hey, you have to use my controller, and they take my controllers. So this is kind of a business negotiation. And second, again, I am not willing to take this revenue, but I have to for that main reason. Second, all my inventory still using Phison own cash. We are not have any debt from banks, so I'm not that much worried or that much hurry to dump my inventory. Third, look to the Q1. Okay, Q1, the total loss I believe is $12 billion, 12 to 13. Q2 potentially will be a little bit higher or lower, but still over $10 billion. I don't believe Q3 NAND makers willing to lose money. So this also indirect to tell everyone my inventory cost is low enough. When market turn to healthy, Phison able to get extra profit. And I'm not stupid, right? Why I'm dumping today? So the answer is, even though my turnover day in inventory is still high, but I'm not in hurry because so many signs signal telling us the price definitely will come back very, very soon. Okay?
Yeah, great answer. Thank you, Mr. Pua. Yeah. As the operator, you have another question on the line, or I can raise one more question?
Yes, if you have a question, you can go ahead.
Okay, so one last question is, sorry for keeping asking about inventories, but in the past few quarters, your balance sheet continuously showed about 20 or higher billion inventory number. So, in a memory chip, I'm feeling that it must be fresh every quarter. If you keep still hold the 1 year ago NAND-based product, 6 months ago NAND-based product, sounds like kind of the quality issue or older generation issue, because the memory chip, as you know, every quarter it should evolve, right? Next year, mainstream NAND chip will be more, fourth generation of the PCIe or more advanced eMMC, and also the NAND chip will be more advanced. So, but if you hold the inventories, maybe 6 to 12 months, even 8 months ago NAND-based product, do you think it's a risk for your future business? Thank you.
No. If Phison only doing the mainstream business, your answer is yes. But Phison will cover a lot of embedded industrial design, which they ask Phison to supply for 7 years. If we design in one project into the system, we cannot change firmware, cannot change hardware, cannot change the NAND for 7 years. And in the history, NAND, legacy NAND, when markets start to go EOL, the NAND go EOL, the price potentially will go up for 3x, okay? Because a lot of high mix, small volume customers, they are not willing to change the configuration, which we're able to gain a much better profit. So to me, holding the inventory, if Phison only doing the mainstream business, retail business, your answer is yes, but we have so many customization industrial business. Actually, this is helping Phison to generate our gross margin. So look to Phison gross margin last quarter, 31%. If we take out the NRE design service, we still maintain like 25% of a product's gross margin. But you go to look to the China NAND makers, which they are public, right? Their gross margin is like 1 to 3%. Why? Because they are in the mainstream spot market deal. We are in the design in deal. So we hold inventory, eventually helping Phison to get more extra profit. And second, we have enough cash to hold our inventory, so we no worry. Third, you're talking about the quality. We have packaging house. We invest packaging house. We're able to manage the quality by ourselves. So I don't see this is a risk.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so also got some question from the chat box. Investor wants to know about the charging station. Just wondering a company whether receive any orders from new customer.
Actually, Phison, we are the biggest so-called industrial SSD market supplier. And recently, they have the other one supplier. I don't want to give the name, but that SSD supplier go to build their own industrial PC motherboard, which they are going to compete with their customers. This pushing a lot of IPC customers come to Phison. So we are getting more design win project. Okay, but I need to highlight in this the so-called charging station, the storage using in there is not terabyte SSD. It's like 128 gigabyte. Of course, the value is good, but the total amount ASP is low. Yes, we are getting more design win, but different to our revenue is too small because the capacity is too small. Okay.
Okay, got it. Also, we got Jason. If you want to ask any question, unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pan. I think I missed the NRE part, so would you please give us more details on NRE? I mean, how much the proportions of the total sales, and is it how's the visibility on this NRE part, and what applications or clients do we can works with or cooperate with?
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we didn't break down our NRE because NRE is not continuous, every quarter. But recently, since the last CQ4, CQ1 NRE, the number is getting much stable, and we already got our CQ2 numbers. Okay. We are considered in the coming futures, we are going to break down our NRE portion in our pie chart. Okay. So CQ1 NRE is around 6% of our gross margin. So means in revenue wise, 6% coming from the NRE, and display is 100% gross margin rate. And we hope we are able to getting more NRE projects in the futures. And we also see more NAND makers, system makers, they are going to use their customization project, and Phison, we are able to design the controller through the design service to them. So this may help us to get a much stable NRE income in the futures.
Got it. So you design the SSD controller for the module downstream supply client?
Not really. Actually, they have a, Phison, we are not like GUC, only doing the silicon. NRE can come in from silicon design, firmware design, system integration, but the much bigger portion will coming from silicon design. So we are working with the automotive customers, phone customers, design the chips to them, which we are able to get a much better NRE. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I know that NRE or design service business cannot have the longer visibility. So do we have any target that it can contribute what kind of levels of in our product mix? And is it now recognized in the other segments or in which of our revenue applications segment?
Agree, NRE visibility is not that long, but we also agree that the NAND module customers in the hyperscale, HPC, smartphone, auto, and some potentially military, they are asking, higher level customization. Okay. And we believe this kind of inquiry will getting much more than before. The reason is a NAND become essential in every systems, and every system they want to have a different performance, different features, and NAND makers, they are not willing to support. Okay, and every customization on the NAND modules, you can only using controllers to make a difference. And going to the controllers supplier in the market, again, to be honest, they have two suppliers, and our competitors, they are saying that they slow down the R&D activity, they lay off, so they are going to slow down engineering people. They focus to only mainstream business. They are not going to take any kind of customization. Looks like in this world, Phison is only candidate. So if this is the case, right, we are going to get a more NRE project. And recently, there have many small, medium-sized customers come to Phison because their original controller company not able to make a good support to them because they are not enough in the R&D headcount. So if this happening, I think NRE will become much stable to Phison, and we can have a longer visibility.
So due to time constraint, we have to close the meeting right here. And thanks Mr. Pan for his efforts, and thank you all for your participation. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact Phison's IR team directly. This concludes the meeting today. Have a nice weekend. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.